All right, we are seated with the latest signing from the previously held and recently held NFL draft. Now, what's particularly interesting about this signing is, of course, Zambian-Born John Daka. His name has been prominent online since the draft ended and since he got that contract with the Baltimore Ravens. John, so good to speak to you on S24 Spring TV. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm blessed. I'm feeling blessed. Just a wonderful time for me and my family, and even the nation of Zambia. I know everybody's proud of me. So I'm just blessed right now. Getting back to work in order to accomplish the goals I have to, but still feeling blessed for the opportunity.
Yeah, now certainly one of the answers I was expecting in your description of how you're doing. Busy must be one of those words that you also throw in. How busy have you been since the big phone call on draft weekend?
We're still in a quarantine, so I've been busy with just focusing myself on trying to focus on doing the things necessary in order for me to be successful in the next level. So I've been working out a couple times a day. I've been watching a lot of film of just next level stuff. So I've been keeping busy on that end, but it's also been since the quarantine with the COVID-19 going on, it's also been a time to relax as well and just basically restart, like get a fresh new mind. So certain days I'm very busy, and certain days I just use those days just to relax and make sure I'm not overwhelming myself too much. So like today, for instance, is very busy, but certain days I just try to like tone down. I do yoga, just stretch out, do a lot of meditation and prayer stuff on certain days. I feel like your body needs that to reset in order for you to get back to work.
Now, you use the term next level. That's certainly what you've got ahead of you in the next few months to come. I mean, before you actually get on the pitch, let's take it back a little, in fact, maybe a lot, because you have come a long way. What made you get interested in the game of American football, especially with your Zambian background? It's not exactly the most popular game where home is considered.
Yeah, so like I said, I don't know if you guys know, but I was born in Zambia, but I came here when I was 2. So basically, I've been so Americanized. I played soccer too a little bit growing up too. But the big thing in America, as you may know, is football, NFL football and basketball. So just growing up in my neighborhood, just that's what we used to do, just go outside and play football. And that's all I used to watch is football all the time. So my mind was just so consumed with football, so fascinated by playing video games of football outside, my friends of football, watching it, just football, I just fell in love with the game of football. Not as much soccer. I like playing soccer, but not as much watching it as much. I like the World Cup and stuff. But like football, I was very intrigued by it, and I felt like I could be successful in it. And then I just gave it a try, and then I just had so much fun playing with my friends that I decided I just wanted to keep doing this.
Now, of course, at what point, because there must have been a point when you realized that this could actually be a potential career move. I mean, you talk about how you grew up with the game. There's no kid who plays any sport and doesn't see themselves at professional level, okay? But at what point did you realize that the dream is actually attainable?
I'd say before I even thought it was obtainable, other people seen it for me. So for instance, my coaches, my senior year, I remember they made a comment saying like, "You're going to NFL," to another coach, and I'm just like, "Come on now, I'm a senior in high school. I'm 18 years old. Like, stop it." I came to college, they're saying the same thing just because they see my potential in me before I could see it in myself. But when I finally realized it was probably last year, to be honest with you, last year or 2 years ago, where I'm just like, okay, yeah, I got it. I could do this. And then that's when it was like, you know what I mean? Because I don't really try to look too ahead of myself. I was just focusing more as though dominating college before I even thought about the NFL and anything. But, coaches, they've seen players come and go. A lot of my coaches seen a lot of NFL players, so they've seen the same potential they've seen in them and me. So, that helped me. But like when once I realized it myself, it's probably last year.
Well, definitely that realization manifested itself in where you are now and the road ahead. Great chapters ahead, exciting chapters, but of course, a lot of hard work. How did your family react to the news of you being drafted? Can we, in fact, go back like maybe 2 minutes before that announcement even came? I'm sure you were with family even then, given the quarantine situation and how the draft was conducted this year. A lot of families together and hearing that announcement. What was the moment like? Take us back.
All right, so this is like what actually happened was that I was actually supposed to get drafted by a certain team. So with the COVID-19, it canceled all my private visits with NFL teams. So I didn't go exactly where I wanted to go in the draft. So the draft passed, and then I get a call. I get a call immediately after. I get a call immediately after. Well, during the draft, saying the Ravens they still want to stop. They offered me. I was in contract with that, but I was still upset because I was in my head. I was thinking I was going to a certain team, and then it didn't work out. So I went in my car because I was upset. And then I was just going in my car, and then my parents didn't even know. I talked to Baltimore Ravens. My first initial reaction was very upset because I didn't go exactly where I wanted to go, and I felt like I put in the necessary work that was needed. But due to like the COVID-19, I don't want to make excuses because a lot of people had that, but due to that kind of stuff, I felt like it was unfair at the moment. Like, you know what I mean? But then I realized I snapped out of it really quickly, knowing how blessed I was because I've seen a lot of people didn't get the opportunity due to the COVID-19. So
Right.
you have to look at another perspective. The perspective I was looking at initially was like COVID messed me up because I didn't go this round, that round, I didn't get drafted with this. But then I looked at another perspective, more of an optimistic perspective, where it was, it's just a blessing because I've seen a lot of my friends who deserve to be in the NFL right now just didn't even get that chance yet. I know they're going to get it soon, but they didn't get it at that moment. So it was nice finding a home
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah. Now, you did grow up around the Maryland area. So, did you have any attachment to the current organization you're with now, the Baltimore Ravens? Did you follow them growing up?
My area is more Redskins and Cowboys fans because I live next to these people crazy where we have half and half, like half. So there's a lot of Redskins fans, a lot of Cowboys fans. But I played at the Ravens Stadium my senior year in high school. I played in that stadium. I've watched them play all the time, like greats like Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, all them guys. So I had attachment towards that, but I don't have a favorite NFL team personally. But I do like NFL players that I watch and follow, and guys on the Ravens roster. I've definitely watched because I'm a big defensive guy. And the Ravens take very good pride, a lot of pride in defense and winning Super Bowls and stuff. And year in year out, they're a contender. They always have a good squad. So you just gotta respect the way they play the game of football.
Yeah, definitely a great organization to be signed up with, one with lots of potential, especially if we talk about the recent history of the Raiders seasons and their younger signings. I'm, of course, referring to the headline boy, Lamar Jackson. Excited to be on the same roster as Lamar Jackson. What else are you looking forward to about the current position of the franchise and how it's lined up at the individuals?
Yeah, Lamar Jackson is already a legend in the making. Playing with him on the offensive end, that's a boost. But there's also guys like Mark Ingram. There's guys like Earl Thomas who's gonna be in the Hall of Fame. There's just guys like Calais Campbell who's gonna be in the Hall of Fame. There's just a lot of older veteran guys who played a lot of football and had a lot of success in this league where I can learn from. Not even football wise, just life. Like, you know what I mean? They've
Yeah.
been through so much life, and they could just give me pointers on how to do certain things. Just trying to sit back and learn wisdom from them. Hopefully, I don't try to make the same mistakes that they did younger, because I don't see myself as being hard headed. I feel like I'm a sponge. I soak up a lot of knowledge, so I just can't wait to just sit back and just listen to their stories and how they could have done this and so right, and try to learn from the mistakes.
All right. And let's also talk a bit about history. I would say even before the Baltimore Ravens started making a name for themselves. Are you aware of the first African player in the NFL?
Yeah, he played for the Cowboys. I forgot his name.
Exactly. And of course, he is or was of Zambian origin. Does that have any significance to you? I mean, having a Zambian background and finding yourself playing in the NFL league this season, does that put any level of maybe sentimental expectation on you, or is it just a nice fact to know?
Um, Both. I put a lot of expectations on myself. Where like you know what I mean, other external factors really don't really you know what I mean. Because internally, I just have an internal motivation for myself, but the internal motivation comes from also knowing that I have a whole country that's rooting for me, and I'm not trying to disappoint anybody as well. So I just put that pressure on myself, but I don't really try to let external like factors like influence how I feel. But internally, I have motivation knowing that I just not only Zambia, I have support from my hometown, I have support from my school, I have a lot of just support on my side, where I just don't like letting people down. So every day I'm just working hard in order to make sure I don't do that, and make sure that I'm just a standard. And that's not even on the field. That's not only just on the field, that's off the field, the way I conduct myself as well. I just try to be a good role model for to try to inspire for the younger youth and other people just to know that it's possible. So I just try to do that. So internally, I just have a motivation myself.
Yeah. So, who has been your inspiration in terms of individuals? You talked about definitely the internal motivation that drives you and has gotten you to this level and will take you to the next. But in terms of inspirational individuals, especially where sports is concerned.
Um, Sports wise, it's lot of people who inspire me, but I say more as of people outside of sports inspire me more. Like my mom, like if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't even be here right now. She took that leap of faith from coming from Lusaka all the way to Maryland. You know what I mean? Years ago, she set this foundation for that. She's my inspiration. She works day in and day out. So, I just take her mindset sort of and just throw it into football wise. Like, you know what I mean? There's people who inspire me football wise, like I look up to, and I feel like their game is very refined, such as like people like Von Miller and stuff like that. But like people who actually motivate me to go hard every day and stuff like that, I'll say it's my family, especially my mom.
Fantastic stuff. Well, before we wrap up the interview in just the next few minutes, I would also like to find out just how different your mindset has been starting the season, considering everything COVID, the fact that you're elevating to a different league. Just how have you treated that, and how have you managed to stay inspired and driven and focused? Certainly, a lot of unprecedented things happening right now around your world. How are you handling that and staying motivated?
Yeah, just like I told you, internal motivation all the time. The motivation is the fact that I've gotten this far, and I know there's so much more I have accomplished. You know what I mean? I have so much more goals I have, and COVID-19 is not going to stop my vision and God's plan for my life. And that's just really how I feel. And I
Yeah,
feel like the only person to stop this plan is myself. And obviously, this is God's plan, but the only person who could derail it is myself. So I don't see any factors, any COVID. I don't see any other people, whatever is thrown at me. I don't see it stopping this plan. It might just make the plan go a little slower, make it a little bumpy. But I just feel like with anything, with the right mindset, I can accomplish anything I want. So, I'm very confident. I always stay focused and everything because I just think about my goals every day. I just manifest them every day. I just going just just focus, knowing that I'm not exactly where I want to be in life. So there's no need to relax, stay back. So I'm gonna start relaxing once I get everything in life I want. And that's not gonna be for a long time. So I don't plan on stopping anytime soon.
Brother, man, all the best. We'll be watching you, rooting for you, monitoring you, and just praying blessings upon your career, man. Thank you so much. It's been stellar.
Thank you. Thank you. Be safe and good luck with you guys.